Good morning, baby gamers.
This is Breaking the Lore,
A show where two girlfriends dig deep.
to find the weirdest and most obscure bits of trivia.
I'm Nissa's girlfriend, Sarah.
And I'm Sarah's girlfriend, Nissa.
So buckle up, because tonight's episode is...
You are a Toy Story episode of Breaking the Lore, or at least you're watching one, because that's what we're doing. This isn't really a surprise at this point. We announced this like 2 weeks ago when it got delayed. For the second time out of 3, I guess. But if you're listening to this, it means we got it out for real this time.
For reals.
So that's pretty good. Also, I realize I probably could have gone with You've Got a Friend in Me, and that's probably the more iconic one. But could I have done that?
I mean, I was expecting you to go for To Infinity and Beyond.
Oh, that's another one. But then think about it this way. Could I have done that smooth, sexy transition if I didn't do You Are a Toy?
It's true.
Plus, like, I don't know, like, I know it falls off, but, like, You Are a Toy is, like, it's like the arc words for, like, the first 2 movies before they waited a couple of years to make the third one and forgot that those were the arc words and they just never came up again in the other 2 movies. But for the first 2, it's like, you know, like Woody says in the first one, Buzz flips it back on him in the second one. Really hits different when you watch them back to back, which we did.
I mean, you also could have said, there's a snake in my boot.
Oh, come on. That's at least below You Are a Toy. Like, it's on there, but, like, I'm not putting it above. Hell, I think You're a Sad, Strange Little Man is more memorable, even though it doesn't come up more than even once.
More memorable? I don't know. Like, I mean, I think There's a Snake in My Boot is an iconic line. Even, like, I don't
You're
know.
a sad, strange little man. I like that line.
I love that one, too. It's a great line. It's an
memorable.
incredible line. I love it.
Guess, I don't know, You're My Favorite Deputy? Like, I guess we're throwing There's a Snake in My Boot in there.
You're my favorite deputy.
There's a snake in my boot.
Somebody's poisoned the water
hole. We don't know. Do we know any of like Pete and Jesse's like little phrases that their pull strings say?
We just watched all those movies, and I don't recall.
I know. Wait, does Pete have one? Like, I assume he does, but like, does he?
I think he does, but I don't think it ever gets pulled.
I think it's the same way with Jessie, because I know she has one. Because I remember seeing it in at least one of the movies. I don't remember if she has it in all of them, because sometimes things just disappear, like the burn on Woody's forehead between movies. But, because we did pay attention to that. I remember when Woody gets burned by Sid, I was like, I wonder how long that sticks around for. And the answer is until the second movie, when it magically disappears. I would have been very impressed if it stuck around until the toy maker dude fixed him.
No, that would have been impressive, but you know, I guess they fixed it off screen. Like,
I guess so. And I mean, that happens a lot. I forgot, you know what I forgot to look for? I forgot to look for if the visible red string that fixes his arm is still there in the 3rd and 4th movie. I told myself I was going to look for that,
I don't
but
think
then
it
I
is.
forgot. I mean, we can just look up a picture.
Look for it. I don't think
just
it is.
look up a picture.
Because
Woody.
his arm is also more stuffed at the end of the 2nd movie, and then it's back to normal in the 3rd. Because he's got like that buff arm, that one buff arm, you know? And then...
Okay, no, it's in Toy Story 3. It's in Toy Story 3.
Oh, it is.
It's
Okay.
less noticeable, I think. Like, you can't really see it in a lot of shots. And it actually looks like in some shots it's not there, but, like, overall, I guess, maybe? Okay, I'm having second thoughts on that bold declaration, actually. I thought, yeah, okay. It's very not noticeable. There's, like, most of the shots you can't see it, but it is still theoretically there. It's just way less noticeable. Because I remember it being very noticeable in the 2nd movie, you know? Like, it kind of stood out.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, I mean, this leads us directly, not at all, into the segue of questions for this episode. What is your favorite Toy Story?
My favorite Toy Story, I think the second one.
Yeah, that's mine too. I wish we had different answers so it's more interesting, but the second one's just, it's the best one.
I like it a lot. It hits pretty hard. It's got a lot of really fun, like, it's a really fun movie. It's got a lot of fun moments in it, and especially a lot of fun, like, locations. Like, the airports are really, really fun.
Yeah,
part, and, like,
I loved the
Al's
airport
Toy
when I was a
Barn.
kid.
Like, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's got like, I gotta drive all the way to work on a Saturday. All the way to work! And then he, like, drives across the road.
All the way to work!
Which, the first lore we're breaking here, because, I mean, I have another question. But before we do that, the first lore we're breaking here, Al is somehow zoned to have, like, a giant farm painting, like, in the middle of a city, a giant farm painting on the two buildings that neighbor his Toys R Us, basically, his themed Toys R Us. And on top of that, those two buildings just have, like, a complete brick wall on the, like, there's no like, the rest of them is just skyscrapers with, like, windows and, like, all the normal shit you'd expect on the side of a skyscraper. And then there's just these two very blank stone walls that these companies that I assume have absolutely nothing to do with, like, Al's district manager Toys R Us building that, like, are painted all farm. Like, I want to know how he did that. Like, I
have
like,
no idea. It's incredible, though.
I never noticed it until we were watching it this time, and then I was just like, how the fuck did he get permission to do this? Are these two office buildings just big Al's Toybarn stands? Like, so much that they were like, we're not gonna construct windows and you can paint our buildings farm style. It's really funny.
It looks so weird, too.
It looks super weird. Like, I can't imagine seeing that in a real city. Like, I can't picture it. But, so for the second question I had, so we don't get super in the weeds before, because we've already rambled quite a bit. But, so the second question I have, who is your favorite character, but, like, toys? Like, I don't imagine you would say, like, Andy or his mom or whoever, but, like, we're specifying toys. Like, not Bonnie, not Andy, not Sid.
So my favorite toy character.
Yeah, like, I guess, yeah, not like whichever one you think would be the most fun to play with. Like, your favorite one.
Honestly, Ham makes me laugh.
Ham's your favorite? You like?
I don't know if he's my favorite. He makes me laugh a lot. He like, the way he talks is really funny.
So is Evil Dr. Porkchop your favorite, or like?
Maybe Mr. Potato Head. He's also really funny.
You would like Mr. Potato Head. That's so you.
I also really like Buzz Lightyear. I like it. I like them all. I really like.
Okay,
them
but
all.
you gotta pick one, maybe two, if we're being generous.
I'm gonna say Ham and Buzz Lightyear.
Okay, Ham and Buzz Lightyear. That's some good choices. I agree with that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say. So it's actually an interesting one. My favorite when I was a little kid was Bo Peep, which is absolutely fucking wild, considering she wasn't really a character until the fourth movie that came out when I was an adult. No. So, like, because the fourth movie came out when I was like 21 or 22. So I don't know why, like, because I had both the original ones on VHS, and I don't know why I went absolutely buck wild for Bo Peep, considering she is a glorified cameo in those movies. But, Bo Peep was always my favorite, and I did like her a lot in 4, so that kind of solidified that she's still probably my favorite, but I also really like, I like the little aliens, you saved our lives, we are eternally grateful. Like, I love them so much. They're really important to me. And then, for like a sort of minor character, I also like Kathy a lot. That's her name, right? Kathy? Is it Debbie, or like it's something like that, isn't it?
You mean Gabby?
Gabby. Well, okay,
Because that's like a pun because gabbing, like talking.
well, she's like she's a play on Chatty Cathy. So like I didn't get it from nowhere. Like her real world equivalent
Yeah.
is Chatty Cathy. So like it didn't come from nowhere. Like
It didn't. It didn't.
which actually raises an interesting question, which I think is going to be our first segue. And I think this is a really deep topic, so I guess it's going to be our first like really deeper topic. How much do you think this world differs from our own? Because I would assume that, like, with what we just talked about, I'd assume Chatty Cathy and Gabby, I'd assume they don't both exist. You know, like, I'd assume that that Gabby is, like, this universe's equivalent of Chatty Cathy. And that they probably didn't come out with both.
I mean, that's... I honestly don't know, because there are some real life, like, toys in these movies.
Well, there's a lot of real
like
life toys.
Mr. Potato Head, yeah.
Yeah, like Mr. Potato Head, the Barrel of
like...
Monkeys, Etch-a-Sketch, the talkie keyboardy one. I don't remember what that's called. Science Bell, I think.
Yeah.
Spell and Say, is it? I don't.
But then there's also and Barbie, for that matter, like...
And Barbie and Ken, yeah.
I think really what it comes down to is like what they were able to get the rights to use, I guess.
It does, but that still makes me wonder, like, with the case of like Gabby and Chatty Cathy, like, do you think? Like, I mean, I don't know much about the Howdy Doody show. Do you think that Woody is this universe's equivalent of that? Like, do you think that that didn't exist in this universe and Woody was this universe's version of that? I don't know anything about that show. I just know it had a funny puppet that was kind of creepy.
Woody was inspired by Howdy Doody, but not exclusively Howdy Doody. He was inspired by a lot of other stuff, too.
Oh, yeah, because was Howdy Doody a cowboy? I honestly don't know. Like I said, I know nothing about it.
I wish I could answer that question. But
we are not a wellspring of knowledge on Howdy Doody at this channel.
I know. Looking at me, I look like somebody who should know everything about Howdy Doody, but I really don't.
Well, like it was in.
What is that supposed to be? Wait. What does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know. You look like you'd know about the weird, creepy puppet show from the 50s.
Yeah. No. Like.
The extent that I know
everything anybody knows about me, like, yeah, I should, but I don't.
The extent that I know about it is, in Indiana Jones 4, when he's in that like fake town that gets nuked, they're like watching the like mannequins are watching Howdy Doody on the TV. So that's my only experience. Oh, and in Little Shop of Horrors, when Audrey's singing Somewhere That's Green, she wants her kids to be watching it. I remember that too, because I love Little Shop of Horrors. So there you go. There's 2 films I have seen that reference it and very shortly show it visually. So I kind of know things about it, sort of, not really. It's the extent of my knowledge. But either way. So do you think that exists in the universe, or do you think Woody kind of filled that niche of the weird mannequin puppet that interacts with children but also has a story? I don't know if Howdy Doody had a story, to be honest.
I think there were a lot of shows in that era that were like this, and like a lot of them pretty short-lived. I don't think it's unlikely for him to coexist with Howdy Doody.
Okay. Now here's some more
complicated. I don't feel confident in saying yes or no to that.
Okay, here's the more complicated one then. Because this one we know the answer, but I'm very curious about it. So one of the questions I posed to you early on in watching the movies was, does Star Wars exist in this universe? Because, like, clearly the movies made prior to Star Wars, like Buzz Lightyear and Zurg, like there's a lot of like things that I'm like, this is probably supposed to be like this universe's Star Wars parody, because like Zurg is Buzz's dad, and like the entire video game section in 2 is very Star Wars-esque. and things like that.
And Zurg is building a machine that has the capability to destroy a planet. Yeah.
Yeah. But
but
I remembered in Toy Story 4, in the scene at the it's not a fucking pawn shop, antique shop, where they go to see, God, what's his name? The I think he's Keanu Reeves or something. The motorcycle man's
Duke Kaboom.
Yeah, when they go see him in the like the nightclub or whatever that he's in, one of those like retro Kenner Obi-Wans with like the weird ass looking lightsaber and the like.
Yeah.
He's there. Which means that at the very least A New Hope came out in this universe. So is Buzz Lightyear, did Star Wars not take off in this universe beyond A New Hope, or is Buzz Lightyear like a parody, or like what do you think?
I think what it is that, like in real life, a lot of later science fiction properties took heavy influence from Star Wars, and parts of the Buzz Lightyear story are ripped directly from it.
So it's like, but like, getting down to the brass tacks of it, like building a station to destroy a planet and I Am Your Father reveal, those are two very clear, like, direct. Do you think it like, okay, thinking of it this way, do you think Buzz Lightyear in universe is to Star Wars as Darkwing Duck is to Batman?
Yes, I do.
Yeah? You think it's like sort of like an animated, like, subversion-y parody of... But it like draws on it. Because like obviously Morgana is Catwoman. Like there's a lot of like direct draws in Darkwing
Yeah,
Duck.
it draws on a lot from Star Wars, but also other science fiction properties, and I think it's very much just kind of like a Darkwing Duck, where it's like a goofy cartoon science fiction show.
Makes sense to me. Okay, so yeah, we figured that one out.
Which actually leads me to a question to you. Buzz Lightyear the Toy. Now, there is a Buzz Lightyear cartoon, a TV series. Is the show based on the toy, or is the toy based on the show?
So Buzz Lightyear came out in the late 90s, right? Because he was new at Andy's birthday party. And
yeah, assuming the movies take place in the year they were made.
I mean, I'd assume
pretty new in 1995.
I assume that they take place in the year they're made in, roughly speaking.
Yeah, it's a late 90s show. Yeah.
So we're past like the 80s era of like making a show to sell a toy line.
Yes.
At the point that Buzz Lightyear, although I mean, it didn't continue into the 90s, did it? By the 90s, it was more just like, we're making shows.
It still existed, but I think it was a lot less prevalent.
Okay.
It was very over the top in the 80s.
Yeah, like in the 80s, it was a huge thing. So it's not quite the 80s anymore. I'm gonna say... Okay, here's what I'm gonna say. I think the show came out after the toy because, and here's my argument, I don't see why they wouldn't have made like, I'm struggling, like Mira, Booster, are those their names? The big red one and the sexy girl and the little funny robot with the yellow head.
XR, yeah. Okay, that's assuming that Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the TV show that we got in real life, is the same TV show they have in universe.
I mean, well, then is there any indication they have a TV show in universe?
I think so. I mean...
I don't remember a mention of it, but you might remember and I don't.
I think there was, but... If there's not, I must be wrong.
Because I think if they ever mention a TV show in universe, I see no reason why we can't assume that it is the same TV show. Because I feel like if there's a mention of a TV show, it's probably in reference to the one we got. is my opinion on the matter, personally. And I mean, there's nothing to contradict anything in the movies and the TV show, I don't think. Like, it's Buzz Lightyear, he's working for Star Command, Zurg is the big bitch who he's got to fight. That's...
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I could think of that the movies never had any of the toys from the show is that Pixar just didn't really like the show.
I mean, I like the show.
And that's why they're making... that's why they're making their own new Buzz Lightyear movie.
Oh, so that means that it actually probably won't be a canon after all.
Yeah, like... I don't know what's going to happen with the Lightyear movie, like... how it ties into Toy Story canon. Like, is this the movie that Buzz Lightyear toys are based on, or is this like?
I mean, wasn't that the pitch? Wasn't that what they said? Weren't they like, this is?
Yeah, they're making the movie based on like Buzz Lightyear the person. So, but like, is this the actual movie that would have come out in the 90s that the toys were tying into?
I mean, I still stand by Buzz came first, and then the film properties. Like, people liked Buzz Lightyear and they were like, oh shit, we can make a whole film of this, I think.
Yeah.
But I think I think that's the answer right there. I think Lightyear is going to confirm that the Buzz Lightyear TV show is not anything that existed in universe.
Yeah.
But I'd like to believe that it is, because I think it makes sense. I think it's fun. I mean, I have full faith that the Lightyear movie is going to be good, but I think that the TV show is going to end up being more fun and memorable. So, and I like Mira. I like Booster. I like the weird, funny robot with the gold head that I don't remember the name of, and I don't even know if their names are Mira and Booster. That's just what my
they are.
No,
okay, yeah, all right. Booster, Mira, Nova, XR. Yes, you are right.
I don't even know where I got that from. I haven't watched that since I was like 10. But put it on Disney Plus. Where the fuck is it?
I assume it's only on Disney Plus because Pixar doesn't like it, but it should be on there anyway because it's
Pixar
good.
Can shove it up their asses. I want to watch it so bad.
I want to watch it. Like, they should put it on there.
I remember...
Okay, put on the pilot movie with both audio tracks, okay? I want to hear Patrick Warburton version and Tim Allen version.
I remember I had fruit gummies from it. They were like the opaque kind, you know, the kind that kind of hits different.
Oh.
Yeah, they had like an opaque Zurg, the opaque teal one. I think that was the funny robot with the gold head that I still don't remember the name of. Even though
XR.
You've said it like 10 times.
It's 2 letters.
Anyway, Mira and Booster.
There was his evil brother XL. Come on.
Who the fuck is XL? I don't remember that one.
The other robot, he's evil and he's like big. Get it? Because he's like extra large.
That makes sense. I don't know what XR would stand for then. So
Extra Ranger.
Extra Ranger. So segueing off of that, I remember you had something that you noticed specifically about the Buzz Lightyear TV show and the aliens, the little babies. Mm-hmm. Would you like to share with the class?
Well, see, one thing that I noticed is that, so in the TV show, the LGMs, like the little green aliens from the movies, from Pizza Planet, are in it. And because of that, I always thought that those were like Buzz Lightyear branded toys.
Right.
But they're not.
What makes you say that?
They are Pizza Planet mascots. I'm saying that because on their like suits, they have a little Pizza Planet logo. And I had never noticed that until watching the movie, like this time.
So that brings me to a question.
Yes.
Do you think Pizza Planet is a tie-in restaurant? Do you think it, like, is a Buzz Lightyear themed?
I don't think so.
No? You don't think so at all?
Well, like, no, I really don't. Like, in the first 2 movies especially, they make a big deal about, like, how popular space toys are. I don't think it's Buzz Lightyear specifically, like, he's the only one. It's like outer space is just a really popular thing. So
Well,
having
like,
a science fiction pizza restaurant is just like a no-brainer.
okay. But that, like, raises a question. So then why are these pizza aliens in Buzz Lightyear?
Well, because the show isn't
No,
canon to
we're,
the
we're
movies at
treating we're
all.
treating the show as canon at the moment. That's what we're doing.
Okay, so if we have to stretch it to make the show canon, why the LGMs are in Buzz Lightyear of Star Command? Probably just corporate synergy. Like, I don't know. They just
You think it's just product placement, like kind of a
product
deal?
placement. Yeah,
Do they have
product
much of?
placement.
Do they have much of? So kind of. Oh, okay. So like kind of equivalent to like Code Geass and Pizza Hut is what I assume that
Yeah.
you're saying. I don't know. I don't know how familiar
I have no
you
idea
are
what that
with
means, but yes.
Oh, okay.
I,
So
I,
Code,
I know absolutely nothing about Code Geass.
this one's for the weebs out there. So Code Geass is it's an anime. It's a really popular one. I watched it in high school. It's okay. The second season just kind of retreads the first season in a kind of embarrassingly weird way. Like I don't get why they did it that way, but I think actually they switched time slots and they didn't want to lose the audience, so they just retread. It was very strange, but so in that show it was like partnered with Pizza Hut, I guess. So episodes just conspicuously have Pizza Hut boxes just all over, and like the main character, he forms a contract with, kind of like Byleth and Sothis. He like forms a contract with this like, well, it's not like Sothis because she's a adult, but like this like green haired lady, and she like gives him like magical eye powers to let him mind control people, and that character, and she like lives in his bedroom like Sothis, and she's obsessed with Pizza Hut. Like she gets enough Pizza Hut that she can send in for this like body pillow sized plush of the Pizza Hut mascot in Japan, Mr. Cheese or Cheese Coon or whatever it is. And she's like carrying it around in like a lot of the scenes. So so what I'm basically saying is it sounds like the LGMs are a kind of Pizza Planet Buzz Lightyear version of Code Geass and Pizza Hut.
Is this why Domino's Pizza partnered with Hatsune Miku?
You know, that makes sense. You gotta have competing anime promotions. We should watch a little Code Geass at some point, just so you can see. Like, we'll find like one of the more product placement-y episodes and watch it. I don't think it's good enough to watch all of it. We can maybe watch like the first season, but you should watch at least part of it for the product placement, because it's really fucking funny a lot of the time.
That sounds incredible.
But so okay, I'm willing to believe that. As soon as I remembered the Code Geass and Pizza Hut exists, I was like, okay, wait a sec. Okay, I think we can gel with this. Because I mean, you make a good point. Because Pizza Hut seems not Pizza Hut. Pizza Planet seems very established when they go there. So like,
Pizza Planet is just incredible because like the fact that they have those like animatronics at the door that have to like move like spears to let you in. It's absurd.
If they have those at every location, it's like Charles Entertainment Cheese money, you know? But like not even like current Charles Entertainment, that's like past Charles Entertainment Cheese money.
That's like 1995 Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Which this is 1998, whatever the fuck year this is. So yeah. But yeah, no, that's so. And I mean, if we're thinking about, if we're trying to take the Pizza Planet truck appearing so often as a little more canon and less just cameo, it's a widespread franchise. It's got its hooks pretty
all over the world, dating back decades. Like the Pizza Planet truck's in The Incredibles, and that movie takes place in like the 60s.
That's true, yeah. Which
and
makes sense.
They have them in France. They have them in Australia. Like
yeah, because Remy Ratatouille and whatever the fuck movie takes place in Australia.
Finding Nemo.
That's
P.
the
Sherman
one.
42 Wallaby Way, Sydney.
That's the one, yeah.
Yes.
But which actually, so I was gonna segue into something different, but I'm gonna segue into this first because it's a really quick one. So I'm assuming that we're taking the animated bloopers as non-canon because the wheels kind of fall off if we take them as canon. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like they're clearly actors in a movie in the bloopers.
Yeah, and I think if we pretend that these are all movies and they're actors, I think the wheels fall off the lore break and we can't really continue past that point.
You can't put that back in the box.
I can't put that back in the box. So we're just ignoring that. But there's one that I don't want to ignore. And it ties into the Pizza Planet truck, which is what reminded me of this.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a blooper in the second movie, where Heimlich and one of the other bugs, I don't remember which one it is.
It's Flick, isn't it?
Is it Flick? It might be Flick.
It's
Either way.
Heimlich and Flick, yeah.
Okay, Heimlich and Flick are talking about being in a movie, and they're in this movie, and they're in this universe. Do you think... Because the Pizza Planet truck, if I remember correctly, appears in Bug's Life as well. It's like by the tree.
Yeah.
Do you think that A Bug's Life and Toy Story take place in the same world and in the same relative vicinity, I suppose?
Well, if we're getting into the Pixar theory that all of them take place in the same world, like, I believe it, at least with the ones that it's, like, possible to. Like, I don't think Onward does, but, like...
Yeah, because it's a little too different. Like, that world doesn't really...
Onward's just a completely different world. Like, you could even say it's a different planet. Like,
yeah, it doesn't really mesh. But I mean, the Pixar theory came out a lot in a different time from when Onward was.
Yeah.
I think there's been a couple movies since then, but I more mean, like, so if the bugs from Bug's Life, like, do you think they really could interact with the toys from Toy Story? Do you think that's plausible? Do you think that's...
Well, can they... Okay. So what we have to ask is, can the bugs in A Bug's Life communicate with humans?
I would have... That's tough to say, because there's no humans in Bug's Life, because they couldn't make humans at that point, and that's why Andy and the mom and the baby look kind of shitty in the original Toy Story.
That's why they made a bug movie.
That's why they made a bug movie. Speaking of which, I love Bug's Life. I watched it a lot at my grandparents' house when I was a kid, and I have a very strong fondness for it. But yeah, when people say it's one of the bad ones, I'm like, well, fuck you too. I love Bug's Life.
There aren't any bad Pixar movies.
Pixar movies are Cars 2.
I wouldn't even say Cars 2 is bad. It's just not as good as any other Pixar movie.
So yeah, it's not bad. It's just deeply mediocre, and I don't really like watching it.
Yeah. I don't think The Good Dinosaur is that good either, but I wouldn't say it's a bad movie.
No, yeah, The Good Dinosaurs. See, that's another one. It's just deeply mediocre, and I don't really feel a desire to rewatch it.
It's just okay.
It's just fine.
And that's fine.
It's
not bad. It's just okay.
I've watched it like 3 times, and I don't really remember that much about it.
I watched it once, and I don't remember anything about it. But yeah, so can the bugs in A Bug's Life communicate with humans? Because, like, I would actually say no.
Okay. I'm fine with that. That's fine with me.
And that's why I don't think they could communicate with toys either. But, like, my evidence here is drawing from another Pixar movie. Rats can't talk to humans, but they can talk to each other.
Yes. In Ratatouille,
so I would
they just hear Remy as like...
bugs can talk to each other, but not humans.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, that's pretty sensible. I don't think that's a problem.
Toys can talk to humans.
Yes, they can.
So I would reason that toys cannot talk to animals.
Okay. I mean, well, yeah, because they can talk to the dog. Fucking what's his name? Booster. It's not Booster. It's not Booster Buster. Again. I can't keep saying Booster.
Yeah.
Buster.
They can talk to him, but they don't understand him.
Yeah, no, they talk to Buster. They talk to Buster the same way that like people talk to Buster. Like they can like teach him tricks and shit, but they can't like communicate with him like mutually. But I mean, all that aside, though. So, do you think the bugs in A Bug's Life are in the same world as Toy Story? And like, do you think that they could theoretically have made it?
I'd say so.
The only thing that I'm like a little questionable on is I'm not sure how they would have made it from like the 2 square feet of nature that Bug's Life takes place in to the big city where Toy Story 2 takes place in. Like, even if it's like the outskirts of that city, that's still a huge distance when you're like, what, like a fucking inch tall? Like, I don't know how tall a bug is, but like not very big. I guess, the Pizza Planet truck was there, so maybe they just kind of crawled on and life found a way or whatever. I don't know. But either way, you think there's no evidence that they can't be in the same world?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd honestly say there's more evidence that they are in the same world.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good. Which brings us to another segue. Another one that I think will be quick, even though I just said that one was going to be quick and then it wasn't very quick. And then we're still putting off the segue I was going to make originally, but we'll circle back. So the old Toymaker Man. I didn't look it up, but I remember. This is a segue because this short is before Bug's Life. Like, source, dude, trust me, I watched that VHS like 5 billion times at my grandparents' house. I remember.
No, you're right, it is.
It's the Pixar short that I've seen the most because of it.
It's the most short.
I didn't verify, but I'm pretty sure maybe that the toy collector man that fixes up Woody is Gary from Gary's Game before Bug's Life.
It is. They reused the model.
Okay. So since it's the same character model, do you think it's the same man?
I do.
You think Gary is the toy collector man, and when he's not fixing up toys, he's off the shits in the park playing chess with himself?
I think the same kind of person who would get that into repairing old toys would be the same kind of person to dramatically play chess against himself.
Did you know that it took me years to realize he was playing against himself?
Baby, do you understand that that's the point of the short? That he's playing against himself? It's not like a subtext thing. It's literally like, that's what it's about.
Do you know
That's the plot of it.
Do you know how airheaded and stupid I am? Like, if you know how airheaded and stupid I am...
somehow...
If you know how airheaded and stupid I am right now, at age 23, think about how airheaded and stupid I was at age 5, 6, 7, etc.
Yeah, but you seem to reach new heights every day.
That's so mean. I was a kid. It's so mean. Like... Wow. But yeah, no, I didn't realize he was playing against himself. But yeah, okay, I agree with you. I think I'm actually kind of curious if it's like canonical that they're the same. I'm gonna look it up. Jerry the Cleaner, Toy Story 2. All right, we're off to a very good start potentially because they have the same Disney Wiki page. So
yes, it's the same man's, I promise.
Like, canonically speaking?
Yeah.
Elderly gentleman who is somewhat well known in the Pixar universe.
Yeah, he's somewhat well known.
That's really fucking funny. He's somewhat well known. Somewhat. We're not sure how much. But he has brown eyes, but blue eyes. His eye color changes. But you know who else's eye color changes? Saw Gerrera, and we just let that happen. His eye color has changed 3 times, and we just let that. He has blue eyes, green eyes, brown eyes, and we just live with that in Star Wars. So I think we can live with that here. Oh, okay. When he fixes Woody, I didn't even notice this. The drawer in his case has a chess piece, which is supposed to be a reference to this. He's apparently in Toy Story 4 as well, but I don't remember that. I don't remember.
Not even in his gallery, so I don't know either.
Yeah, no, it's not in his gallery, and that's what I'm curious about. Because I don't remember seeing him. I'm looking it up because I'm curious. Oh, in the antique shop, the old lady behind the counter, she has a photo of him hanging up.
Huh.
Do you think they're related somehow?
They might be, yeah.
They're both old as balls. Like, you know, they could potentially have
Maybe
some
they knew
sort
each
of...
other.
Yeah, maybe they're like old friends, or they're married, or they're siblings, or I don't know, think of another relationship that someone can have with someone. That's interesting.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a neat little connection. This is breaking the lore in real time, you know? So you could almost say that's what this whole show is supposed to be.
It's true. It's true.
But yeah, so the old woman, Margaret, it would appear, from the antique shop, is in some way related to Gary, who is canonically the same man as the toy cleaner. Fun times. So I can go back to my original segue, unless you... I've been making a ton of segues. I don't know if you want to...
I would like to hear your original segue now.
Oh, okay. Are you sure you don't want to have your own segue before?
I'm sure. I would love to know what you've been leading to this whole time.
Okay, well, you're going to be disappointed because I have not been leading to it this whole time. So we were talking about Buzz Lightyear's show.
Yes.
This is a very loose segue. So I want to talk about Woody's show.
Woody's Roundup.
Yes. And I'm going to pose you a question. Because, see, I mean, okay, so this is another one of those episodes where it's a lot of just, like, us kind of theorizing. It's less like, here's some random trivia, and more just like, let's try to come up with... Because these movies are not very interested in world building, is my opinion.
Nope.
Like, they've built a very interesting, confusing world that I want to know more about, but they're not very interested in actually exploring it. They're more interested in, like, the emotional core of the story and, like, the characters. Which, like, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I do think that it'd be nice to have, like, a Toy Story spin-off movie that's just, like, to build the world in some way. I feel the same way about Wreck-It Ralph. So here's my question for this section about Woody's Roundup.
Yes?
Do you think that Pete is lying to Woody? And Jessie and all of them? Because, so here's the context of this question. When we were watching it, I remember we paused it to have a conversation about how the line about Woody's Roundup ending makes no fucking sense in a real world, like, situation. Because, so, like, they have this episode, for people who haven't seen Toy Story 2 recently, they're watching Woody's Roundup, and there's this episode where, like, it ends on a big cliffhanger, and there's danger, and they're like, come back next week for the next Woody experience, yeah, or whatever. I don't know, that was a 50s show. And, so at the end of it, Woody's like, oh man, we gotta watch the next episode! And Pete's like, oh, there never was one. Because those damn space toys got popular and they canned our show. But here's my proposition about that. It doesn't make sense. Like, unless they're filming these episodes, and if in the 50s episodes were filmed, like, as they, like, not live, but, like, on a weekly basis, like, far be it from me to be wrong about this. It's actually quite possible. I didn't look it up before saying this. But, like, unless episodes are filmed, like, the week that they air, Um, I don't see why they never would have released the second part. Like I don't see how it could have been like that quick. People lost interest in this massively popular show that like they never got a they didn't finish out the season or whatever, you know.
I think back then a lot of shows were like film one episode and then air it, maybe, but I also think they would still order multiple episodes at a time, and it wouldn't just be like, make one episode, we'll see how it does, and then you get canceled maybe. Like,
But then like even
so it doesn't make sense that like,
but like even so, like this show was clearly massively popular. Like it was clearly like insanely popular. There's so much merch for it, and it was
they
the
had
50s.
yo-yos.
And it was the 50s, you know? Like
Yeah.
you weren't just pumping out merch for everything. Like this was the 50s. Like so like I feel like if they could get that much merch, this was clearly like the most banger show that like everyone was watching. Would that really change in the span of like a week?
I couldn't imagine it does. Like, it would absolutely have to be like a gradual thing. Like, ratings are declining. They don't just... Because you don't cancel a show because of one bad ratings. Like,
No, yeah.
one bad episode, you don't cancel a whole show for it. Like,
And I feel like if you're using a cliffhanger to get a rating spike, you do the second part of the cliffhanger because that's like the reward part, you know?
yeah.
Like I feel like that's the test.
That's when people are going to be watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if I was testing a TV show for ratings and I was doing a cliffhanger, I'd want to like see if the second half like was what got the people back, you know? So like
Yeah.
even if it was in the decline, I don't get why they'd do half of a cliffhanger because that doesn't make sense to me. Which raises the
Doesn't make any
question:
sense.
do you think Stinky
Yeah?
Pete is lying just to like enhance the situation, like to turn Woody further against Buzz, to stir up the conflict, stir up Jesse's like emotional issues, and get the group a little more bound together?
He could be. I don't think he is though.
Really? Because I mean, he strikes me as a master manipulator willing to do anything. Because I mean, he pretends to be in his box for God knows how many years.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe he is. I don't know.
well, I
Maybe
mean,
he's
think
stretching
about
the
it.
truth.
You think he's stretching the truth? Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. It just like the whole thing just doesn't sound right. But like, I don't know. Is he like just withholding episodes from them? Like,
I mean, that would be my theory. Yeah, that he's just like,
he just picked this point to be like, oh, then they never made any more.
well, I mean, if you think about it, it's the perfect point. Like, Woody's at like a heroic height, and you want to see what the next part is because it's a cliffhanger. So it'd be like it seemed. If you ask me, it does seem like a perfect point to be like, oh, these damn space toys. Like, we had this perfect episode that was leading into something great, and we'll never know what it was because of these fucking Buzz Lightyear ass bitches, I guess.
All right. Yeah, maybe he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, I want to bring up another very small point that we talked about, just because it was really confusing and interesting to me. The Woody's Roundup Zodiac plates.
The Zodiac plates, yes.
Yeah, there's
You
like...
did a lot of research on this.
I did do a lot of research on this because like I saw... There was like... It was in the background of the shot where they're playing with all the Woody's Roundup merch. There's like these plates, and they like have zodiac symbols around the rim, and I was like, why is there a Woody's Roundup thing with runes? And I like looked it up, and I was like, wait, those are zodiac symbols. It's not fucking runes.
Are you sure these are zodiac symbols?
What are they? Show me them again. Are they actually runes? Did I misremember it and they actually are just weird runes?
They're not runes. Well, one of these is just a WR for Woody's Roundup.
What the fuck are these?
The one in the bottom right, the VT, is the Virginia Tech logo. These look more like the kind of symbols that you would like brand your cattle with to me.
I don't know anything about cattle branding. I don't know anything about cattle branding. I thought the WR one. I thought that was like I remembered it upside down. The like Virgo like little M with a little tail.
Maybe these are zodiacs.
Yeah, I remembered the Woody's Roundup is like either the Capricorn or the Virgo or the Scorpio. Don't make fun of me.
Can we talk about RC for a second?
What about RC?
Like, at the end of the first movie, when, like, Woody and Buzz are on RC to catch up with the moving truck, this remote control car is, like, keeping pace with, like, real-ass cars on the road, like, going, like, 35, 45 miles an hour.
I mean, how is that any different from Bullseye keeping up with a plane taking off?
That's the same thing! Like, what's up with that?
Woody's pull string is working as like a grappling, like that's a fucking strong cord, I'll tell you that much. It's working as like a goddamn grappling hook on a plane taking off.
As it needs to be.
Yeah, I know that too.
Like, I refuse to believe that pull string is longer than like 9 inches, but it goes like several feet.
But yeah, no, like there's like a couple instances. I mean, okay, the whole section where they like fly on the rocket and then fly down to the car. I have no fucking clue what's happening in that part. Like from a logistical, like I get that it's like it's a charming little scene where Buzz probably actually flies, maybe, but like I don't understand how they managed to catch up to a moving car and like land in it when they should theoretically drop like a fucking rock. Like, it's a very charming little scene.
There's no way.
But
there's no way Buzz Lightyear's wings give him enough lift to actually glide. I just refuse to believe that.
No, yeah. So, like, it's the same as that. Like, there's, like, a couple different instances in this series where the characters, like, can just, like, do things that don't really make sense with, like, the capabilities of a toy. Even though we kind of just have to let it happen because it's a movie and that's just how it works, I guess.
Yeah, like, to that, I think we just have to say it's a cartoon.
Yeah. Like I don't think there's like a good reason why RC can keep up with a moving van, why Bullseye can keep pace with a plane that's taking off, why Woody and Buzz can like fly to a moving car that they weren't even directly above, like even if the car wasn't moving. And I don't know, what's another example? I'm sure there's some in 3 and 4 too. I just can't remember them offhand. But yeah. So I want to talk about some little things. Oh, sorry.
Oh, some little things?
No.
I had a little thing.
Well, fine. Say your little thing then.
I just want to, like... These toys are, like, a menace to society.
That's not a little thing. It's potentially a very big thing.
I just, like... Every movie involves some kind of car wreck caused by these toys.
Yeah, because even, like, 4, which doesn't have, like, a wreck, like, they, like, fuck up that RV quite a bit and, like, get the dad in legal trouble involving the RV. Because in the first one, they caused that car wreck with Spike. In the second one, they caused that car wreck with the truck, which I want to say, whoever is, like, the contractor or whatever that signed off on the chains that were restraining that big pipe, someone was gonna die. Like, that's like they gave way like it was nothing. Like, who signed off? Who's the safety inspector there? Like,
Sure hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
I hope so too. And then what's the car wreck in 3? I remember there being one because I remember commenting on it, but I don't remember like what it was.
Oh shit, there was one.
There was one. I remember there being like some kind of like traffic disturbance, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, I totally remember there being one, but I'm just drawing a blank right now. So
yeah,
I'll just say there was one.
There was one. But no, yeah, it's like it's a recurring theme. Like, the toys like cause major issues that no one really cares about because it's a movie. But
yeah,
the toys probably at least injure people at the very least. Like,
on a regular basis, yeah.
Like the one in the first movie was just kind of a weird little gridlocky thing. But the one in the second movie, people definitely got hurt. There's no way no one got hurt in that mess.
People could have died in that one.
Well, yeah, because you got that giant concrete pipe just rolling through the streets. Like, which, that scene is so fucking stressful. I forgot how stressful watching that scene is. It's a very stressful scene. I was getting so goddamn stressed out by that. So, like, which leads me to another point that I think is just kind of funny. It's not like a big thing or anything. There are so many things in this universe that just have like the bottom popped out, even though that makes no sense most of the time.
What do you mean?
Well, like, they hide under the cones, which makes sense. Like, cones have a hollow bottom.
Yeah.
At Pizza Planet, they're hiding under a cup and a like little like burger case.
That didn't make sense. That burger container was not big enough to hide Buzz Lightyear. I refuse to
Oh,
believe
that too. Yeah, he's got to be like perpendicularly bent over to even maybe fit in that burger case. And on top of that, there's no reason why a burger case and a cup would have no bottom, because that kind of defeats the purpose of them. Like, they don't work that way.
Right. So for that matter, like the pet carrier in the airport in Toy Story 2, like, that has like footholes for a toy in it. That doesn't make any sense.
It's like the same issue. Like, I don't get why so many of these things, and like, I guess like the ones at the not Burger King, Pizza Planet. Why the fuck was Pizza Planet? Why did they have burger cases? Do that many pizza restaurants really sell burgers?
A lot of pizza restaurants have other stuff on the menu. Like, they sell like chicken tenders and burgers. Like, that's not unusual. Sandwiches.
I don't know. I feel like I've seen pizza restaurants sell like, like breadsticks, fries, macaroni and cheese, but not like burgers or like.
I've seen ones that sell burgers, sandwiches, all kinds of stuff.
Different experiences, I guess.
Usually the burgers aren't going to be as good as the pizza because they specialize in pizza, but they got an option for people who don't want pizza.
But yeah, so like, those are made of cardboard. I can be like, all right, they punched them out, whatever. It's weird, but like, I guess they could do it. How are they punching out the plastic or whatever material of a pet carrier? Like, they're not, is the answer.
No, they couldn't.
Like, unless they're just like super strong, and I don't know if there's any real evidence that they have that level of strength, but I don't think they probably do. So that's a good question. There's so many things that just like have the weird little bottom holes that they can run around in. And it's not a huge problem. It's just something that's very eyebrow raising when you're watching the movie and you're like, huh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Speaking of little things, though, I've got a bunch of like just little random things that I noticed because I was taking notes like as I was watching it on my phone. So some random things about the Toy Story world. SNESes, like SNES. They had full 3D, like, GameCube to Wii level graphics.
Yeah, in like
Like
1998.
the thing we see in the beginning of Toy Story 2, like it's that fake out segment, and it's a video game, and you can be like, oh, they made the graphics look good because it's a fake out, but then they show the TV in that scene, and the graphics are the same. Like it's not like they show the TV and it's like a dumb pixely mess. Like they show the graphics and it's the same, like not even 64 era. Like these are like polished character models. Like this is like GameCube Wii level graphics. Yeah. And it is a SNES. Like when it zooms out, you can see there's a SNES on top of the TV.
No, it's
and hell, I'd
SNES,
even argue that if it was supposed to be a plug and play, like that's even worse. Like a plug and play has even worse graphics, so that doesn't help matters. But
no.
Yeah, so that's just a little thing. Like why does the SNES have little things that are like the world is somewhat different, I guess. Like the SNES has really, really, really good graphics. Which, I mean, actually might explain, if you look at his room in the third one, I remember we commented on, he has all of the modern consoles at the time, it appears, because he has a PlayStation for sure. Like a PlayStation 3, or whichever number was out at the time. He visibly has a Wii. Yeah. He has a Xbox controller that implies that he has a 360. We don't actually see it, but we see the controller that like heavily implies he has one.
Oh, it's definitely an Xbox controller, yeah.
And then he has all of those. And then he still has his SNES. And like he doesn't have like a GameCube, a PS1, an Xbox, the original version. He doesn't have a 64.
He couldn't afford the next generation of consoles until the current generation. And then, couldn't afford a GameCube.
And then he could afford PS2, all of them? But, he could afford all of them at once?
Yeah.
No. My competing theory, I mean, that's possible, but my competing theory is that because the SNES has such good graphics, it lasted for a lot longer. Like, because, like, well, no, because the SNES that they showed in the second movie, the Wii is only marginally better, if even that. It might even be worse than what we saw in the movie.
Honestly, yeah, I think a Pixar movie looks better than a Wii game.
Yeah, so, like, the SNES is better than... So we can assume that the Wii just looks, like, even better. Like, the Wii has, like, Switch graphics or whatever. But, like...
The Nintendo Wii in this world is a fucking PlayStation 6.
Because, like, I think he could probably get at least one console in the middle. And I think him still having his SNES implies that he would not have thrown out his 64 or his GameCube or whatever. So, I personally think that the SNES is just so good that it was in production until the modern era.
Okay, sure.
They just kept making games for it. It looked good. They had no reason to expand. They weren't rushing to get better graphics so the games could look cooler and do more. They already had, like, Pixar movie graphics.
It's true. They did.
You disagree?
No, I do. I mean, I think I don't think any gaming company would, like, not make a new console, like, for 20 years, but...
And I mean,
you're right in terms of, like, the SNES was incredible in this movie.
So in that case, from a money standpoint, well, let's talk about little things about, like, the human characters in these movies. So specifically to the money standpoint, where do you stand on the theory that they're moving because of a divorce and they have less money and they can't afford the house that they're in at the start of the series?
I think that makes a lot of sense.
You agree with that?
Would be true. Yeah.
I agree too. I mean, the house they move into is smaller, and Andy's dad is never mentioned in these movies. Ever. At any point. No, like, he doesn't come up. Never implied, never mentioned. So I think divorce. I think if he was dead, it would come up at some point, maybe, or at least like I feel like if he was dead, and I think it was a messy divorce, you know. Like I don't think it was like maybe even like his dad was like a shitty person even. Like because I think if he was dead, I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like in the third one or something, they'd be like, oh gee, I wish Dad was here to see you off to college, but he's dead, so he's not. Like you know, like I feel like because there's like a couple wistful little like looking around his bedroom scenes. Like I feel like maybe it would have come up once or twice.
Could have come up. It didn't.
But my other piece of evidence that it's a messy divorce and not that he's dead. So Woody is clearly a hand-me-down. Like, it just makes sense. Like, he's clearly not being sold in the modern day. Because if he was being sold in the modern day, Al can just go buy one. Like, he wouldn't be a collector's item. Like, Al could...
Exactly.
Al probably... If
50s.
If he was being sold in the modern day, Al already owns, like... He's got Toys R Us. He would own, like, 20, 30 of them at any given time. So, like... Woody is clearly vintage. He's clearly handed down. Which is evidenced as well by, like, the era of, like, Jessie's traumatic flashback, which is clearly also the 50s. Because, like, she gets, like, 60s flower power stuff at one point.
Yeah.
Like, Jessie's, original owner gets, like, 60s flower power stuff. So it's clearly supposed to be, like, the 50s. So Woody's a hand-me-down. So I remember, I originally thought Woody was the mother's, but I amended that over the course of the movies, that Woody is the dad's. Do you agree with that?
Could be, but what's your evidence?
It ties into me thinking that it was a messy divorce. Because, and hear me out.
I'm listening.
So Woody's passed down. So Woody was clearly important to at least one of the parents, enough to pass him down.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the mom calls him an old family toy.
Yes. However, despite this, the mom is quite cavalier with throwing Woody out in the third movie.
Yeah?
By the time you get to the third movie, she's very like, oh, aren't you just gonna throw that old toy out? Like, sort of just like, she's very like, you're too old for this cowboy doll. Toss him. I'll help you toss him. Like, you know, like she's very like, let's get rid of this old cowboy bitch. Like, she's not like, let's put it away so you can pass it down to your kids, or let's keep it a treasured memory of my dead husband or whatever, you know? Like, she's very cavalier with throwing it out, which leads me to believe two things. It's not her hand-me-down, and it was a messy divorce. Or the dad walked out on them, or like something like that, you know? Yeah. Like it's like Andy maybe has fond memories of him, but she does not. Like,
I'd believe it.
I think so too, and I think
makes a lot of sense.
I think that's why she's so like okay with just tossing Woody out in the third movie, and even probably why she's so okay with just like benching him in the second movie, because she puts him up on the shelf with Wheezy, which is like the like, I'm not fixing this ever, hopefully my kid just forgets about this shelf, because that's what happened to Wheezy. Which actually, Wheezy. Serious question, a little side note, who do you think fixed Wheezy?
I don't know.
Because he's fixed in the end of the second movie. And, like, the mom clearly had no interest in doing so. And Andy had clearly forgotten about him to the point that it was like, whatever, this is never going to happen. Who fixed him?
That's a really good question.
That's not even the point, because it's just an animated kids movie. We don't need to dig that deep into, like, the fact that it doesn't really make sense that he's fixed at the end of the movie, because he's there for the dance party ending, just like DreamWorks, except they did it first, I guess. But
dance party ending.
But yeah, back to it. Like, they did do it, the dance party ending. But yeah, back to it. I think Woody is the dad's toy, and I think there was a messy divorce, and I think they're moving into a new house because they don't have as much money, and I think that the mom probably hates the dad. Maybe I don't know.
That I believe it. That's very logical, very sound. I like it. It tracks. It clicks.
Because, like I said, there's no evidence that he's dead. And I'd say there's even counter evidence that he's dead, just because I feel like the mom would not be so cavalier with Woody if he was dead. Like, if he was, like, the hand-me-down from her dead husband, like, I don't think she'd be so, like...
Yeah.
Like, I think she'd even be like, can I... Like, if you're done with him, can I keep him? You know? Like, can I... Like, I don't know, like...
Just put him up on the shelf, you know?
Yeah, no, like, put him on the mantle or something. Like, people come over and they're like, oh, you got a weird little old cowboy doll. And she's like, that's my dead husband's beloved, treasured childhood toy. What the fuck's wrong with you? He's dead. It's next to his ashes.
Like, this is a vintage 1950s collector's item, for your information.
It has its hand on his ashes. You know that's his ashes. Put two and two together, Deborah. Fuck. You're never coming over here again. But I don't think he's dead. And there's also no evidence that he's still in Andy's life. So I don't think it's like an amicable, oh, we just grew apart and we don't mesh anymore. But you can still be in my kid's life and I'll still be in your life and we're friends or whatever.
You walked
like,
out on them.
I think he like walked out. And that even makes sense because if he's playing child support, maybe they could have kept the house. Mm-hmm. But if he just walked out on them, they're down to single income, and they probably cannot. Okay, I think I've now settled on. He just straight up walked out on them. They're not even divorced. He just left. He's just gone.
I believe it. I definitely believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, hammered that one home.
Hell
it's
yeah.
probably just because they didn't want to make an adult male human model in the first movie because their human modeling wasn't very good. And now they're paying the price because we've come up with a very depressing story for Andy's family. But some more little things about the humans. Unless do you have anything else to add to that topic?
No. I only have like one more little thing, and it's about a toy. So.
All right, let me finish up the little things about the humans, and then we can go back to little things about toys. Because I noticed a lot of little things about the humans. I was trying to pay attention to stuff. So, I mean, just little facts about Andy from his bedroom in the third movie. He plays electric guitar, or at least he owns an electric guitar and an amp. I would presume he plays it. He has a state champion in baseball pennant, but there's a lot of evidence he plays a lot of soccer. He's got like a soccer game schedule on his bulletin board. He's got like a bunch of soccer posters. He's got like pictures from a soccer game. He's going to State University in Emeryville, California. And another fun Andy fact.
Yes.
He won an art competition in 6th grade for a safety poster.
What a talented boy.
What a talented young man. He's a soccer player, he's an electric guitar player, he's a gamer. He won a safety poster competition. Truly a renaissance. Real renaissance man, that Andy. And then the last human stuff I want to talk about. I mean, I'm sure I could come up with something to talk about with like Bonnie or her parents or whatever, but I'm not, because I don't have anything written down here. I have some mean stuff to say about Al. I've got some rude stuff to say about Al.
Let's get your Al roast out of the way.
We'll get my Al roast out of the way, and then we'll circle back to Sid and his family, because I had like two little things about Sid and his family. I think Al's horrible. I hate Al. You're supposed to, but
is terrible.
I think Al. I said this during the movie. I think Al is the kind of person who he makes those like YouTube videos with like J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy with like the laser eyes, and it's like George Lucas personally executed Kathleen Kennedy, and he's secretly running Lucasfilm, and it's all a setup, and the sequels are getting erased, and they took a piss on your childhood, and it's horrible and evil. Like, he strikes me as one of those like he's got fandom menace and geeks and gamers in his bio. He's got them both. He's part of both of them. He thinks that taking Gina Carano out of The Mandalorian was the peak of cancel culture. He wrote so many angry tweets about it. You know that one gif where she like bites her lip and she does that little half smile that like, yeah, he posts that one on the daily. That's his header. It's his Twitter header. But that's all beside. This was supposed to be about like things he does in the movie. I think that's who he is, though.
I believe you. He is like that.
The one thing that really pissed me off about him, he's done a lot of bad things, obviously, but the one thing that it just absolutely drove me buck fucking wild. He touches Woody with Cheeto dust fingers.
Right after getting him cleaned up.
Right after. No, yeah. No, it's before. It's
before?
Because that's how his arm falls all the way off. Or I think he's getting his arm out of the breast pocket, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's before the cleanup, but still, I don't care. That's not the point. The point is, Al is a toy collector. He is he keeps them in glass boxes. Like, he has glass cases for them that he keeps them in. He's trying to sell them to a museum. And he touches them with Cheeto dust fingers.
He has custom cut foam to keep them, like, sealed in there.
He has foam in their shape, so they don't even move in transit. And he touches them with Cheeto dust fingers.
He's just a fucking moron.
Like, I don't even understand how you can do that. Like, how can you touch your collector's item with Cheeto dust fingers when you're a collector? Trying to sell it to a museum.
Like, I can't with him. Toybarn.
I hate Al's Toybarn. I hate this man.
Alfred Toybarn.
But also, how many years were between the first two movies? Because it's insane how much humans improved, like, model-wise.
It was 3 years in real life.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, Al looks amazing compared to the humans in the first movie.
Just everything is a major improvement. Like, from the first to the second movie, it's incredible there was only one movie between them.
Well, yeah, because I remember, like, when we were watching the first movie, we were like, we were like, this looks pretty good, but that texture looks pretty fucky. Or, like, that human looks a little messy. Or, like, that texture looks kind of dumb. Or, like, things like... And I was planning on us doing that, like, every movie, but, like, from the second movie onward, like, none of the textures look bad, none of the models look bad. Like, it all looks really good. The second movie still looks great. The second movie looks amazing in the
20 years, it still looks great. Like,
yeah. The first movie, it's pretty good, but there's definitely some models and textures that look kind of like... Spike looks horrible. Spike looks terrible in the modern day.
Yeah.
And the humans look weird. But...
Yeah, the first movie's a little rough, but it's still technically very impressive.
Yeah, it's a technological marvel, and it's a well-written movie, well-acted movie. It's a great movie. I'm not shitting on the movie. I'm just like, when you compare the visual effects to later ones, like, you can see that it's the first one, and they were still figuring stuff out.
Yeah. Which is in its own way incredible.
So, my last thing about humans is about Sid and his family.
Sid's family.
Sid's family. Obviously, not the most doting parents, I would assume. Like, Sid does not strike me as a child of loving, attentive parenting, you know?
No, loving, attentive parents do not let their children keep tools and explosives in their rooms.
That's the thing. He's like blowing off explosives like everywhere. Like, is Andy's family the only one moving? I think I'm confusing when we were watching Malcolm in the Middle with when we were watching Toy Story.
No, yeah, because we were watching an episode of Malcolm in the Middle and they were walking past a bunch of houses that all had moving signs. And that's... No, yeah, I'm pretty sure Andy's family is the only one that's actually that we see moving from the neighborhood.
Okay,
but, like,
I was confusing Malcolm
I can
in the
understand
Middle
why
then.
they'd leave the neighborhood.
But, like, Home Runners Association or whatever was, like, it's crazy that their kid's just blowing off explosives, like, every day. And Spike is just, like, completely unrestrained, can run down the road, and, like...
Oh, yeah.
No one ever has a problem with
Leaving
any
that
of it.
dog. I'm sure people have problems with it. I guarantee they just
That's
don't care.
true. I mean, I would care if my neighbor was blowing off explosives every day.
No,
actually.
the neighbors care. They don't care what their neighbors think.
Oh, the parents. Yeah. No, I think the parents
Yeah.
don't care at all. Like, I don't know anything about the mom. Okay, I assume the mom is busy working, is my assumption. Because they're living in this neighborhood, they clearly have money. Like, Sid is presumably stealing his parents' credit card or whatever to, like, buy these rockets and things. So I think the mom's busy working. Because the dad, I put together a very sound theory on what I think he does. Yeah. Because... So he has a bunch of cans next to him, which at first I was like, oh, is he an alcoholic? Is that what angle we're going for with this? No, they're soda cans.
They probably wanted a beer, and then Disney was like, ah.
I mean, I have a feeling it's something like that, yeah. Like, I think it was probably supposed to be beer, but Disney was like, maybe not. And then, like, I think they were reused assets as well from another part of the movie. Like, I think maybe they only made so many unique cans. Like, I think it was like an orange soda and a grape soda and, like, a cola or something like that. And I think maybe they only made so many unique cans and were like, yeah, that's enough. We gotta conserve our assets on this film.
They didn't want to make a can for the Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, they call him that in one of the movies. Which, is that the first movie? Is that the first movie?
Yeah, in the first movie they call him
they were
Lightyear.
So that tells me it was probably asset conservation, because I think if they can say that, they can have... They also have that erection joke with his wings popping out. That's the next movie though. So at first I thought, okay, maybe he's an alcoholic. But then I looked at the cans and I was like, no, that's like grape soda and shit. But I think the dad is like a stay-at-home failed songwriter. Is my theory.
Yeah. Explain.
Because when Buzz goes into his bedroom, there's... Or not his bedroom, whatever room Buzz goes into with the TV and the, like, chair. I assume it's like a home office or something. I don't know. There's a guitar against the wall and an entire trash can of crumpled up paper.
Yeah.
Plus, like, it's the middle of the day and he's at home sleeping, watching TV. I think he's a failed songwriter. Is my...
I believe it. He's a struggling musician. Yeah.
I think so. So I think that's my theory about why Sid is the way he is and why Sid's home life is clearly the way it is. I think he's a struggling writer, a struggling songwriter who takes it out on his family, and I think she's has to work all the time to be like basically the sole provider, who probably also takes it out on her family.
Yeah.
Just because
that sounds right.
I don't know. You know that I'm very like I worked with like residential care for like kids with trauma, and like I have like a psych degree and stuff. So like I was immediately like something's a little off about, like I was like, Sid's not just like an asshole. Like something's a little off here. Like
he's clearly got some family issues. Yeah.
He didn't just like come out bad like a kid in like The Omen or something. Like he there was clearly something that caused this to happen. So that's my theory.
It's a good one.
As to why Sid is the way he is at this point in his life. But yeah, That's the last of my bits on the humans. There's not really that many humans. Like I said, I didn't really get anything for Bonnie and her parents. I probably could have tried a little harder to find something for them, but that's about it. But before we get into what you have, I had one more small thing about it's like a toy. It's not a person. I just think it's really funny that like Rex is a gamer, but he's only a gamer for one movie. Like, like the first movie, he has no gamer traits whatsoever, and then the second movie, he's a total gamer. Like he's playing the Buzz Lightyear game in the start. He throughout the entire movie, he's like, oh, this is just like the video game. I've played a lot of video games. I know how to do this, and like he's like doing the whole gamer thing, and then 3 and 4, nothing. We see him playing. We see him play an MMO with Trixie at one point. Or at least it's implied to be an MMO, I think. It could be anything. But we see him playing a computer game of some kind with Trixie. But that's about it. Like, because it was his dominating personality trait in the second movie. And it just...
But only the second movie?
only the second movie. So Rex had a gamer phase. That's my small thing. It's Rex's gamer phase.
So, I want to, like, segue into, I want to talk about the potato heads.
Okay, we can talk about the potato heads.
So, like, in real life history, like, the potato head toy was originally just, like, the face parts. And you're supposed to put it in a real potato.
My parents mentioned that when I was younger. I don't know what year that was. Probably before their time. But they still told me about it as if they were in their log cabin doing that. So...
They're in their log cabin sticking eyes into their potatoes. Back in my day, we didn't have plastic potatoes. We had to use a real one. But yeah, so in Toy Story 3, when Mr. Potato Head, like, puts his parts onto, like, a tortilla and a cucumber, like, he gets attacked by a bird trying to eat his tortilla, and he feels it. He feels that pain.
He does,
like,
yeah.
So not
only
only is he, like, controlling the parts of him that he put into it, he's controlling the tortilla.
Well, I want to argue, based on the third movie, I think his sentience is the parts. I don't think his sentience is the potato body.
I don't think so either. Like, all of his parts are what he can control, and I don't think because
his parts,
the body has anything in it.
Because his parts can move on their own. Like, the arms can crawl, and like feet can walk and things like that, and he can see from the eyes, and he can move his mouth. But when he's in the sandbox, the potato body gets left behind, and it has to be, like, returned to him. Like, someone has to pick it up, and, like, when he gets it back, they, like, roll it over to him. Like, it doesn't, like, get out of their hands and, like, walk over, or, like, whatever.
That'd be kind of freaky if it did.
It would be. But I think the body itself holds no sentience whatsoever, and the sentience is in, like, the eyes, the mouth, the hands, the feet.
I agree with you. That definitely, I think, is how it works.
Which raises a weird, interesting question that is never addressed in these films of what happens if you... Well, I guess it's sort of addressed because they get jumbled up by the preschoolers, and they're like, their sentience is still in the parts, which is really weird to think about because like, you know, like, they're all jumbled up, and she's like, where's my arm? And he's like, here it is, where's my ear? Yeah, give me the mustache. Like, you know, like...
Yeah. So I think what it is like, all of the parts that come with one potato head set are like one combined sentience.
But that's so weird to think about if you think about it. Because, like, the way you play with a potato head, if you don't have just the one, is you, like... Because usually you have, like, some number of potato bodies, but a much larger number of random bullshit, you know? Like, random arms, random feet, random... Like, we had a pair of, like, bare feet with skis. I don't know what context that would exist in, but, we had those.
I mean, the fun part of a potato head is putting the pieces where they don't belong.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. Like, I can't believe that was the first time that had ever happened to them. Like, I don't understand what kind of kid Andy was, that he always kept them in, like, human versions. Like, I usually had like arms on their head, like eyes all over the
Oh, I
place.
always had an arm on the
like-
head, like the feet on the arm, like
Yeah, arm on the head just looked silly. It looked fun, you know? Like, you
yeah.
looked a little
Put the
arm on
nose in
head.
the eye hole and like a mouth in the nose
Yeah.
hole, like
Yeah.
that's what you do with a potato head.
It was always weird and silly.
You're supposed to
That's
make something
what you
that
do with a
looks
potato
absolutely
head.
horrifying.
Yeah. Like a weird body horror potato creature. So yeah, it's weird to think about. The sentience being in the pieces is very disturbing and strange to me, and I don't really like thinking about it, but it's clearly what's canon.
Yeah. Like,
But this
if
sounds
you
like
did
it's
swap. If you like half and half to your potato head, like you put the eyes of one and the mouth of another, and like everything was like half the pieces were from a different potato head. What the fuck would that be?
I don't even I mean I guess like it would just be like they'd be very upset and they'd go back to it beforehand, I guess. Like I don't know. I don't know. They wouldn't like it though. They'd be very
No.
distressed by the whole situation. And like things like his angry eyes, did his angry eyes come with him? Or like do his angry eyes have their own sentience that isn't like his sentience? Like the wheels really fall off if you think too hard about it.
They sure do. Yeah. I assume he came with his own like extra pieces that are part of his sentience.
I guess.
I don't know.
But like, does that mean like the ones that you buy that are just like packs of accessories, like they have a sentience, but like they don't have a body? It seems
They have
very
a separate
strange,
sentience. They
very
have their own
strange and
separate
unnerving.
sentience.
I don't like it very much.
I mean, everything about toy sentience is really fucked up.
Which is what we're going to talk about, I think. And it's a
Yeah.
big topic, and it's very deep and confusing, and there's a lot of facets we need to hit on. So I'm going to go very slowly, and I'm going to segue with the potato heads.
Mhm.
We talked about this while we were watching it, but I want to rehab this conversation because I think it was important and relevant. Ken and Barbie, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head,
Mhm.
both of which are dating and fall in love.
Yes.
Toys that are manufactured to be a couple, like Ken and Barbie. Were Buzz and Mira dating? I don't fucking remember. Oh, good for her. Ken and Barbie, Mr. and Miss Potato Head, when they're manufactured to be a couple, do you think, because in both cases they're dating in the
Yes.
like toy sentience universe, like the Potato Heads are married. He even says they're married. He's like, I'm a married spud, I'm a married spud, I'm a married spud. And like Ken and Barbie get together and like they have a like love at first sight type reaction. Do you think they're like some like divine force, like I don't want to say requires them to be together romantically, but like do you think some divine force like makes them be together romantically?
So you're saying God said it's Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, not Mr. and Mr. Potato Head?
No, I don't mean it like that. I just mean like, do you think, I guess like they're like, do you think they have free will, or do you think there's like a very like fatalism, like they're fated to fall in love, like it's their destiny, it's what like they're made for, because it actually is what they're made for on a different level, I suppose.
I mean, how much of like the manufacturer's intention in creating this toy goes into their like nature? Like,
Well, we need to talk about manufacturers a lot, but like that's a good question. Like, because I mean, but like, so do you think, like, do you think that these toys like are bound by fate, like they have to fall in love?
I don't think they have to, but I feel like they're like genetically predisposed to.
Yeah, like they just have like a very strong like they're not required, like they have the ability not to, but like they almost can't help it. Like they're sort of like
They're
very
naturally
like
attracted to each other, but like I don't feel like it's always like a
they
requirement.
can,
It's always going to happen every time.
but they can resist it. Like they can avoid it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I guess yeah. It'd be like genetic predisposition. That's less fucked up than them being fated to like being
Mm-hmm.
made to have to date each other. Um, and I assume based on the way that playing is described, if two toys um that are not like made to be together, TM, are like played as a relationship very frequently by their owners, like that's kind of just like doing a movie franchise where your character's dating another character. Yeah.
Yeah, because it really is kind of like acting. Like, I
Well, I mean,
guess.
there's the porcupine that's like,
Yeah.
oh, are you classically trained? You're a
Yeah.
natural at acting. Like, that was Yusuke from Persona 5. But subscribe for more Yusuke impressions. But like, so I guess, so yeah, okay. So I would say yeah, like if I was playing right now and I made like I don't know what's a toy in my room right now, my On Figma and my Sabine Wren Black series. Like if I made them like make out and like wrote extensive adventures where they like did
Mm-hmm.
crimes or fucking whatever, I don't know. And we're dating the whole time. It'd be like On and Sabine like they're in a play where they're like together. Like they're not like actually dating in like quote unquote real life.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you did it enough, it would like influence them. Like maybe if I had like Jeff Goldblum and King Kong make out enough times that they wanted to be together, like in real life.
Why is your King Kong, I don't know what the kaiju collectible figure series is called, but why is your King Kong kaiju collectible series cheating on Godzilla with the Jeff Goldblum Amber collection? Like what that's wrong. You make them kiss all the time. Or wait, do they
I
have
do
healthy
make King Kong and
polyamory?
Godzilla
Is it
kiss a
healthy?
lot.
Is it healthy polyamory, or is Godzilla
Sure.
or is Kong cheating?
I think it's healthy. I have not actually made them make out. Like I've
Oh.
made Kong and Godzilla make out. I've not made Kong and Jeff Goldblum make out. Sorry.
Well, that's a future activity for you, I suppose.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so as soon as we're done recording this, I'm gonna go grab them and do that. Yeah.
But okay, so that makes sense. So now we have a lot more facets of toy sentience that we need to hit on. And I'm a little overwhelmed. I don't even know how to tackle this issue because there's a lot going on with it. So like, I mean, I guess, okay, just an overview of like things I want to hit on at some point during this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck's in the water at the Buzz Lightyear factory? The like the having to be inert just in general. Who is sentient and who is not, and like human toy relations just in general.
Mm-hmm.
You got what do you have? You have anything else that I didn't mention that you want to hit on during this?
I mean, I'd like to talk about manufacturers and like how much Buzz is aware of what's going on in the first movie.
Okay, so it sounds like we need to hit on, I think, all right, so it'd be nice if we could poll the audience, but this isn't live, so you guys just heard a bunch of options and you have no say in which ones we hit on first. So I'm gonna go with let's start with what's in the water at the Buzz Lightyear factory, because that sounds like
Okay.
it sounds like both things you want to hit on, as well as something I really want to hit on. So what the fuck's going on at the Buzz Lightyear factory?
Okay, so the question we have to ask ourselves is Buzz Lightyear thinks he's a real space ranger.
He does.
Why is it that he freezes up when there's a human around? like other toys.
Oh,
do.
I wasn't even planning on hitting on that just yet. There's a whole bunch of other things we got to unpack, but we can
All right,
hit that
fine,
one
then
if you
tell me
want
what
to.
you want to start with.
Because I feel like that's an even more complicated issue. I feel like we need to unpack like the smaller issues first, and then build to the very complicated issue of how Buzz Lightyear knows how to act during playtime. So smaller issues. So Buzz Lightyear thinks he thinks it's all real, obviously. Like he's aware of his entire story. He thinks that everything's real. And it's not just him. Like it's not like he's just built different. He like got dropped on his head or something. Like every Buzz Lightyear at Toys R Us thinks that it's real. I was getting to Zurg, but yes. Oh. Zurg thinks it's real too. Zurg comes out of that lunchbox and he's like, ah shit, it's time for galaxy domination because I'm not a toy. And like, yeah, and like all those Buzz Lightyears, like that one is like, oh, you're just an imposter. And then he like locks him away. Like, so like, this isn't like a problem of just like one Buzz Lightyear got a little scrambled. Everyone in the Buzz Lightyear line thinks that they're real, which like does not in any way seem to be like a thing in terms of like every other toy that Andy has is like fucking like flabbergasted by this. They're all like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? Like, clearly this has never happened before in any of their experiences, and it's treated as odd. Like when Buzz like meets the other Buzzes after he's all rehabilitated, he's like, Jesus, was I like that? And like anytime it comes up again, because it comes up almost every movie, he like gets space rangered, and they're like, ah, fuck this bullshit again, not again. So like, that raises the question: why on earth is only the Buzz Lightyear line like this?
Yeah, like, because we know it didn't happen to like Woody, because he's never even heard of Woody's Roundup.
Exactly, like he doesn't even know he's from a show. He doesn't know about Jessie. He doesn't know about Bullseye. He doesn't know about Pete. So like Woody clearly did not have the experience of. So like it's not. So yeah, exactly. If you wanted to make the case, Mr. Potato Head doesn't have a complicated mythos. Slinky doesn't either. Like, etc., etc., etc. Like, they're not licensed toys, TM. Which is ironic, because they are the licensed ones. But, but, like, Woody also has a TV show. So, like, you can't even make that case, because Woody, he knows he's a toy. He knows what's going on. And it would require, like, I guess, like, the only way it would work is if, like, Woody had it beaten out of him in the 50s, and then he forgot about all the delusions that he had. But that doesn't really seem sensical to me, because Buzz never forgets about the Space Ranger stuff, does he? Like, he still remembers all that?
Yeah, he's still fully aware of all that.
And that's, like, I know, like, the 50s to the 90s is a long time, but, like, the movies as a whole take place over the course of, like, 20-ish years. Like, that's not a short time. So, like, if Buzz doesn't forget all about it, I don't really see why Woody would either.
Yeah.
So, like... So it does raise the question, why is Buzz the only toy line that thinks they're real?
It doesn't make it a lick of sense. Which is weird, because it's like the plot of the first movie.
Yeah, it's like a huge... And, I mean, it's so important that it comes back every movie except maybe the fourth one. I don't actually remember. We didn't actually rewatch the fourth one for this, because we only watched it a couple months ago.
I mean, yeah, Buzz Lightyear doesn't do a lot in the fourth movie.
He's not really in it. It's just mostly a Woody movie. But, like... But, like, every other movie, like, it comes back. So it's clearly, like, it's important enough that they think they can roll it out every film. So... It raises some questions, you know? Like, why? And I know that they originally had a sequel that they canceled that if I'm gonna be completely honest, I think that it'd be cool if they made it as an interquel, because it's a weird idea, and I think it could work as an interquel. I don't think it can work at this point as like a sequel, but I think it could work.
Yeah.
The movie where they go to the Buzz Lightyear factory, like Buzz gets broken or something happens, and he has to go back to the factory for repairs, and they go to the Buzz Lightyear factory. And I know that you've read the script for that movie.
I read it. I skimmed it when it first like leaked, and I actually have it up right now, and I'm like scrolling through it looking, because there's actually a part in this that's fucking incredible, because Buzz Lightyear talks to the guy who made him.
Okay, go on.
I'm trying to find that part, but like the way the guy talks, it's like the people who make toys are 100% aware that they are sentient and they're doing it on purpose.
That raises all manner of questions.
Now, this isn't canon because this script wasn't even made by Pixar. It was made by another subsidiary of Disney that was formed specifically to make sequels to Pixar movies without Pixar involvement, and then it got shut down immediately without making a single movie.
Was that during the part where like Pixar was like, all right, fuck Disney, we're done with you, no more, and then like 2 days later they were like, just kidding, we love you, we're back together.
It was right before Disney bought Pixar, like in the time where they were like, the contract was about to come up and they were thinking of just like cutting ties with them.
Did they? I thought they went their separate ways for like I don't know, some short period of time, didn't they?
They did. I think they did, but like it wasn't long enough for a movie to even come out.
Well,
so
no, yeah, because I know
really
that Pixar doesn't have any non-Disney movies. I just like,
yeah.
I feel like I remember when I was a little kid there being like a news story about Pixar being like, fuck you, and then being like, just kidding, we love you, please come back, and they were like, oh yeah, sure, for reals, we love you too.
Something like
Sorry,
that.
bro. Ignore that weird breakup we had. It didn't count. You shouldn't have posted about it. You know?
Yeah.
So, like, I know this movie isn't canon, but that still raises all kinds of questions.
Yeah, it does.
So, like... Alright. So... I mean, do they mention anything about, like, Buzz Lightyear's, like, being something else? Like, you know, like, they're built very different. Like, does that ever come up? But so, like, I mean, so that's not canon, because it's not, like, real. But, like...
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll discard the part about, like, they're fully aware of it. Although I'm very curious about that, and I do kind of want to think about it. But, like the Buzz Lightyears, it's just very strange. Like, you know?
It's just super strange. It doesn't make sense. Like, whether the manufacturers are aware or not, it doesn't make sense.
No, yeah, because if the manufacturers are aware, it'd mean that they're, like, for some reason, specifically singling out the Buzz Lightyear line to think that they're in their show out of all the toys that are manufactured ever. Because, like, they're using some kind of weird magic science to, like, bring toys to life, like, everyone has to be in on it because every toy's alive. And then even some more people need to be in on it because we need to talk about, like, what is sentient in this world, because it's not just toys.
It is not just toys by any means.
We'll circle back to that after we finish with Buzz Lightyear. But I mean, I guess actually we're kind of just spinning our wheels. Like, there's not a good reason why Buzz is the only one. And we don't even have any good theories. We haven't even come up with anything good. Like, you know, like, we just straight up don't know.
We don't know. We never will know.
Unless we think of something really good, but I can't even think of something really good. Like, unless, like, the only thing I can think of is there's something weird about the manufacturing process for the Buzz Lightyear line specifically that, like, results in some wires getting crossed, and they, like, think that they're from the thing. I guess? But I don't even get how that makes sense, because it really doesn't. I don't know why Buzz Lightyears are the only ones who know this. That's just how it is in this episode. This is speculating baselessly, and this episode is very complicated. These movies don't care. This movie said that Buzz Lightyear's the only one who's like that, and screw you for even wanting to know the reason. Okay, so we got two different segues that we could potentially talk about. Which is, we could talk about inertness, and we could talk about... I think we're going to talk about what's sentient, because I think that's a smaller topic.
Yes,
I think inertness is going to blow up into a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So what's sentient?
Okay, so...
is the question that we're talking about.
My thought process at first is that, well, we know it's not just toys that are sentient. So, like, what else do we know for a fact is sentient? Because I know they mentioned a lawn gnome at one point.
I know that Christmas decorations are sentient.
Yes, Christmas decorations.
Or at least to a
like...
degree. To a degree. Because we don't know that, like I'd assume string lights aren't sentient, but, like...
No, but they use string lights as a tool.
Like, I'd assume organ... oh, you're right. String lights come up in, like, we see them in the films.
Yeah.
And they're not sentient. But, like, I'd assume, ornaments are probably sentient. Like, the angel on top of the tree.
Yeah.
That sort of shit.
That leads me to believe that anything with a face is sentient, but that can't even be it, because the Etch-a-Sketch. I know.
Yeah.
I'm doing a process here. I know that's not true, because the Etch-a-Sketch is sentient.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess what it comes down to is, and this is, like, Forky led me to this, like, conclusion, is that, like, the act of being played with is what makes something sentient.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but then the wheels kind of fall off a little bit. And here's why I think the wheels fall off a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Is it that, like, someone in the world has played with this ever? Is that what your argument is?
I guess.
Because that's kind of what your argument has to be. Because, for one thing, we don't really have any evidence that Andy or Molly has ever played with the Christmas ornaments. Like, no, I know I did.
But we know that
I did, like, a little bit, but I got yelled at for it because I broke one of them. So, yeah, we had these, like, ceramic Sesame Street ones, and I liked, or maybe they weren't, they were ceramic, or porcelain. I think they were porcelain, actually. And I liked to play with them as, like, little Sesame Street figures. And I broke Bert, I broke his foot off, playing with them. It's glued back on. You can see it's very messy looking. But yeah, I used to play with ornaments until I got yelled at for breaking them. But so, like, I guess ornaments are, in theory, can be played with, because, again, I've played with them. But I wouldn't say that's a universal experience that everyone does, you know?
Not necessarily, but do we have any reason
to believe
that... I think I did, yeah.
Okay. But then, here's where the wheels really fall off. Here's what my real, like, objection, contradiction evidence is.
Mm-hmm.
The toys in Al's Toybarn are sentient. They have never been played with, presumably.
I mean, the only ones that are the Barbies on display and the Buzz Lightyear that gets taken out of his packaging.
All the Buzz Lightyears are implied to be.
Yeah, but they're, like...
They just know.
Cryostasis.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean they're not sentient. That just means that, like, they know that when they're in their box in the store, they are supposed to be sleeping. So, like...
Okay, so all toys are sentient, and something that's not a toy can become sentient by being played with. As a toy. Because a toy can be anything. If something's made to be a toy, then it's sentient. And then if you play with something like it's a toy, then it becomes a toy, and it becomes sentient. So toys are sentient.
So you mean to argue with me that if I played with this chapstick in my hands, and I, like, gave it a name and, like, danced it around or whatever, it would become sentient and could talk to my ReZero Rem Bishoja figure over there on my desk?
Under Toy Story rules, yes.
I guess.
If you're trying to deny that, explain to me why Forky comes to life.
I don't know. That's the problem. Like, I guess, because I mean, Forky has a face, but then there's plenty of things that don't have a face, and then Forky's like kind of like he's assigned some kind of. But then you gotta ask some questions. All right, how about this then? How about this one? I'll turn this on you.
Yes.
Etch-a-Sketch, Speak and Say, sentient. Checkers, yes. Not sentient. Why aren't board games sentient?
Board games aren't toys, they're games.
I could argue that an Etch-a-Sketch is a type of game. Sort of.
An Etch-a-Sketch is a toy.
Okay, but like still
there's no object to an Etch-a-Sketch. It's a toy because it's like
this still feels
a game has a goal.
It still feels like an oddly arbitrary line to draw, if you ask me.
It is.
I was wondering that the second that we first saw checkers in the first movie. Why aren't checkers sentient? Why isn't Jenga sentient? Why isn't a deck of cards sentient? Like, why don't they, like, get up and, like, walk around like fucking Alice in Wonderland? Like, because we see them playing cards, we see them playing Battleship, we see them playing checkers. The SNES. Why isn't the SNES sentient? Why isn't it, like, the brave little toaster and, like, the SNES is sent? Like, you know? Like...
I'm telling you, games aren't toys.
I mean, I guess. But, like, it just... If we're really getting down to the brass tacks of, like, why Forky exists, like, it feels like a weird contradiction that Forky exists because it's played with. Like, you could say a spork is not a toy, a pipe cleaner is not a toy, a tongue depressor is not a toy, clay is not a toy, and googly eyes are not a toy. Each of the individual components is not a toy insofar as much as... And Christmas decorations aren't a toy. What the hell are you talking about? You're making arbitrary rules. You're making arbitrary rules to separate games, but the Christmas decorations come to life.
Because they've been played.
Which your argument... And you play with a game, is what I'm saying.
No, the way you play with a game is different from the way you play with a toy, because a game is... Okay, you use toys to create a game, okay?
Okay, and the way you play with an Etch-a-Sketch, you're not acting like an Etch-a-Sketch is a person. You're drawing on it. Like, that's like saying, like, I would be willing to argue, I'd be willing to go back and forth with you that you play with a game more than you play with an Etch-a-Sketch. You play with an Etch-a-Sketch barely more than you play with, like, a sketchbook or a electronic drawing pad. Like, it's an art tool. It's a hard, kind of frustrating art tool. But at the end of the day, it's kind of an art tool. So, I have to ask, why is that considered playing worthy of bringing it to life? But playing, like, Jenga or checkers or fucking Buzz Lightyear SNES is not considered playing enough.
An Etch-a-Sketch is considered a toy. It is made in a toy factory by a toy manufacturer and sold as a toy. It is a toy. Even if you don't play with it like a toy, it is still a toy, which makes it sentient. If you were to take, like, the pieces out of Monopoly or, like, a chess piece and play with it like they were toys, then they would be toys. They would gain sentience. But as it stands, they are the pieces of a game, and a game is not a toy. A game is a game.
But that just seems stupid and arbitrary. And you know what? Fine. Contradiction. Bo Peep. She's a lamp. She's from the lamp factory.
A lamp who's been played with.
You play with a game.
Not the same way.
But, like, it's just... I disagree. The puck. The weird commemorative hockey puck.
The hockey puck with arms and legs?
That doesn't mean that they played with it. It's clearly like a commemorative item that you'd get at a sports arena.
Yeah, which is kept in a toy box with other toys because it's played with.
You know what? You want to do this? You want to go? Why isn't the fucking, you know, the baby toy that's like the colored rings and you like put them on the thing that like, why isn't that sentient? That's a toy.
How do we know
made
it's
in a
not?
toy factory.
Just because we can't.
Because
Just because it can't move
it's
doesn't mean
on.
it's not sentient.
It does not appear to be sentient in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't give any indication of sentience unless it has died or something. Like, okay, fine. Magic 8 Ball. It's a toy. Argued to be a toy. Magic 8 Ball, I would say, is a toy. Magic 8 Balls, clearly not sentient. They come up with multiple times in these movies. We see them. There is no indication they're sentient at all.
There really is no reason for the Magic 8 Ball not to be sentient when the Etch-a-Sketch is.
Exactly. And that's why I'm saying that I finally found a contradiction and you have to give in. That this is ridiculous.
Okay, fine. There's a contradiction in my testimony, so what is your theory then? Explain to me why anything can be sentient.
I don't have one. I think games should be sentient. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just trying to find an explanation for them not being. Okay, my argument is not what should be. My argument is this is what is. Here's why I think it is that way.
But your argument can't be right because of the Magic 8 Ball.
So then what is right?
Your argument has a hole.
Why?
It has a
Why?
big Magic 8 Ball sized hole.
There are absolutely no ways to explain why the Etch-a-Sketch is sentient and the Magic 8 Ball is not.
Yeah,
can we get a fucking Rubik's Cube as a tiebreaker here?
I think that's a problem. I think it's a problem that the Etch-a-Sketch is sentient and the 8 Ball is not. I think that's a massive issue.
Do you think the like bouncy ball is sentient? Like the ball with like the star on it?
No, I don't think it is because again, there's no indication.
But why not?
And I don't know. And the popcorn popper, you know, or at least that's what I called it. I had one of those. You know, the like. It's like a little vacuum type thing, and you push it, and it goes pop, 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 pop with like little colored balls.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
There's one of those in Toy Story 2. That ain't sentient. It's just an inert object. Baseball bats, just inert objects.
Sporting good.
Like sporting good.
It's not a toy. It is a sporting good.
So is the hockey puck. You want to go about that one again?
Okay, a real hockey puck is a sporting good. A rubber hockey puck with arms and legs is a toy.
It's a commemorative item from. You don't know that it's rubber. It could be a real hockey puck.
Okay, it can be a collectible, but a toy can be It can be a collectible, like, and if it's played with, then it's a toy.
The 8 Ball. That's the crux of this argument.
I don't understand why the Magic 8 Ball isn't sentient.
Yeah, no, we need to figure this. Well, I mean, I don't understand why the rubber ball isn't sentient. Like, I think that's also a problem. I think the 8 Ball not being sentient, the rubber ball not being sentient, the popcorn popper not being sentient. I think those are all problems equally.
Yeah.
Frankly. Like I think. I mean, again, these movies don't really care about world building. We're trying very hard to suss out the world in a series that just does not care. But, like, I don't know. It's very strange to me. It seems very arbitrary how certain toys are sentient and certain ones are not. But that's not even the end of what we have to address with this issue. Because there's a lot more, which is kind of a problem. So I want to talk about now, God, where do you even tackle next? Let's tackle inertness, I guess, because that'll probably lead us into the rest of the issues that we have to discuss here today.
Yes.
Toys go inert.
Why?
That's the question.
Because they don't want humans to know that they're alive.
So this is gonna get us into like the meat of the rest of what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Which
is why do toys have the relationship with humans that they do? Like why? Because so like toys like it, but they also don't. Like there's something kind of weird about like how toys feel about being toys. Like they seem to enjoy being played with.
Yeah.
They enjoy being owned. They like both of those things. But it usually leads them to issues that they clearly don't like. Like, they don't like being broken, they don't like being discarded, they don't like being replaced or forgotten about. And you'd think that they could still have the companionship with none of those issues if they were just outright sentient with people.
Yeah. So
like, they'd never have to worry.
Sense.
Yeah, no, they'd never have to worry about those abandonment problems. They could still be played with, and they'd never have to worry about those abandonment problems if they were outright with humans. Because they wouldn't toss them if they knew they were people, you know?
Yeah. Like...
And they'd be more careful. You wouldn't, like, throw them across the room if you knew it was a person, you know?
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. They have this weird symbiotic relationship that depends on them being viewed as inanimate.
Exactly.
And I don't get why.
And it's very strange. No, I don't get it either. Like, I don't get how this started. I don't get why it continues. Because, okay, so here's something I wanted to bring up. And I think this is going to be, like, this is a major thing that I want to talk about. So in the end of Toy Story 1, they reveal to Sid that they're sentient. Like, Woody is like, you better watch out, you better watch out, you better watch out. And Sid's like, holy fuck, they're real. And that's fucked up and strange. He probably goes to therapy for that and many other reasons. But, he's traumatized, I'm sure. But,
oh, they traumatized him to hell and back.
Oh, yeah. And he was already traumatized, so it's, like, double trauma now.
Sid's having a rough.
So, he is. So, that happens, and there's no, like, punishment for it, you know? Like, nothing happens as a result of it.
Yeah. No
Which
consequences. Things just get better for them.
No, yeah, they don't get punished. It fixes their issue. Like, Sid will never abuse a toy in his house again. So they presumably saved the living conditions of the toys living there. He's not going to blow more toys up because he now knows they can take revenge on him. So it raises the interesting question of, like, why do they even bother? Because, like, there's clearly no, like, big toy government, you know? Like, there's clearly no, like, council of toy angel gods or whatever that, like, comes down to judge them if they reveal they're sentient and, like, kills them or whatever. I don't know. Whatever happens if you fuck up on a cosmic level like that. But
when they're making that plan, Woody says we're gonna have to break a few rules, which means that there are rules, and I don't know what governing body makes them.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. Like, I wanted to talk about toy governments, too, because, like, the toys clearly have, like, little, like, municipality governments, you know? Like Woody is, like, the mayor or whatever, like, the town speaker, whatever the fuck you want to call him, of Andy's room. Like, he's, like, the elected official who leads the room. I assume it's probably based on, like, seniority, because Woody's probably been there the longest.
I think it's just the favorite toy, I guess, is in charge. Like the head toy.
That probably makes sense, because they do start deferring to Buzz when Andy's favoring Buzz. So, like... So toys clearly have small government, you know? Like, they have, like, city-states or whatever. But, like, you're right. He says we're gonna have to break some rules. That definitely does imply that there is some kind of, like, bigger toy governing body that is controlling, like, what they do in theory. But also there's no evidence of that. There's no, other than that one line, there's no, like, are toys, like, deeply religious? Is that what, like, do they, like, is it like the Ten Commandments? Like, is it one of those type of rules? Like,
is there a toy god? I mean, I guess it'd be like Hasbro or something, but, like...
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, do they have, like, a toy like, is it, like, was I wrong about big government and it's actually more like a religion? Like, they've got, like, sort of like a Ten Commandments-y, or is it like the manufacturer? Like, this goes back to, like, manufacturers doing it on purpose in that fake ass sequel. Like,
The creator of Buzz Lightyear instilled a fear of God into him.
that's what I'm saying. Like, do they view, like, Hasbro and whatever as. But they also talk about their creators casually. Like, there's that one scene where they're like, I'm Mattel, I'm Hasbro, I'm whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
you know? So, like, that doesn't strike me as, like. That didn't strike me as, like, oh, my god is Mattel, or, like, anything, you know? Like, it struck me as just, like, I was made like it's as casual as being like I'm from Cleveland, you know? Like it's
Yeah.
like it seemed more like your like home city instead of like your god.
Mm-hmm.
So like who the fuck is enforcing these rules?
I mean, nobody's enforcing them because nothing. There are no consequences to Woody and Sid's toys.
So then I have to ask, why don't all the toys just tell people they're alive? Like, what would happen realistically? I mean, mass pandemonium would happen. It'd be fucking crazy. But like, I mean, like on the toy level, like, what is their reason for not do? Because they get traumatized by being left behind. They get traumatized by being broken. They get traumatized by being abandoned, and it's something that they go through tons of times in their lifetime, you know? Like they go through owners, they get left behind, forgotten about, shoved in the closet. Like it's something that has to happen a lot. So I'm really curious like you know?
Okay. There are toys, like the earliest toys that we know of are from 3000 BCE.
Uh-huh.
This is something that I assume has been going on. These toys have been sentient in secret for 5,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
And just nobody fucking knows?
Like, I guess it could just be like a cultural thing at this point where it's just how it is. And they never question, like, why
Yeah.
that's how it is. But you'd think that that would come up. Like, you'd think that, like, at some point, like, the toys would be like, why the fuck do we do this? Like, what is the point exactly? Like,
I
there's
want
a
to
reason
see.
that cultural trends don't actually persist that long without being questioned, or at least some people going against them, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I don't think there's a
You think
single cultural trend.
at some point there'd have been a toy that was like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah,
And
and
like,
just
just talk
talked
to
in front
people.
of humans. Yeah. So like,
Like,
it's gotta come up at least at least semi frequently. This would have to come up.
it's gotta happen at least every couple decades.
And I want to point out, like, being inert is not involuntary, obviously,
Yeah.
because Woody is not inert around Sid. Buzz starts talking in front of Bonnie in the fourth movie when he's like, "Your backpack, you forgot it,"
Mm-hmm.
you know?
I think it's like a
Like,
reflex, but they're able to resist it.
I mean, like, and like, what's another time? Oh, when they're being played with in the in the daycare, Buzz like puts his mask down
Mm-hmm.
while inert. Like he moves part of
Yeah.
his body while still inert. So, like, they don't have to be inert, and they like. So I don't get like why. It's really weird to think about. Like they clearly this relationship is symbiotic, but it's like symbiotic in a kind of unhealthy way for them, where like they're not
Mm-hmm.
actually like it's not working out for them as much as they think it is. It like works out for them in ideal conditions, but a lot of the time it ends with them traumatized or upset or abandoned or like something. And I
Yeah.
mean that's the point of the fourth movie because they decide to just go live in the wild, being a fucking wild toy feral, you know? So
Yeah.
like it's the point of the fourth movie that like maybe ownership is not the best thing. But they never address like why don't toys just like stop, you know?
Mm-hmm. Uh, there's no reason. Like, they like being played with, and I guess if they were alive, they don't think they'd be played with, but, like, I don't know.
Maybe they'd still be played. I mean, I guess that'd be kind of weird to play with, like... But then they'd be played with in a whole different way, because I assume they would still, like... They could still, like, play with the human, just, like, in a different... I don't know. It's weird, because, I mean, like, it's kind of like how you play with your pets, you know? I don't know. It's weird to think about. I don't know how I would handle my toys being sentient. I don't know what I would do in that situation. Like, I can't really think of, like, how that would change our relationship, I guess. You'd have to change something, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know what, and I don't know how.
I don't know what I would do.
So, like... I don't know. It's weird to think about. Like, I don't really get why the toys continue doing it, and I don't really get why... You know?
Yeah. I don't get why at all.
I don't get how this started. I don't get why it continues. I don't get, like... Like, I don't... Is it, like, just knowledge that's born inside every toy's brain, but, like, at the Buzz Lightyear factory, they get kind of fucked up and get, like, different knowledge instead?
I mean, even Buzz Lightyear, like, he has those reflexes. Like...
Well, yeah, because he goes inert. And he never, like, resists going inert around humans. Ever. Even when he thinks he's a space ranger. It's very strange when you get down to the brass tacks of it.
It's like he knows, like, in his heart that he is a toy and he has to do that. And he doesn't question it. He just does it. And then it doesn't come up. Like, he doesn't talk about it. He just does
it's never addressed at any point. Even when, like, Woody's trying to convince him he's a toy, never does even Woody say, you freeze up and let Andy play with you. Do you ever think about why you do... Like, you know? Which, like, okay. Well, no, because in the first movie they resist it. I was gonna say, I guess maybe in the first movie, like, they're supposed to just, like, be inert and they don't understand it. And then, like, in later movies they added that. But no, because the climax of the first movie still depends on them not having to be inert and being sentient while inert. Yeah. You know? So, like, there's not a single movie in the series where they're not inert and aware.
It's just...
very strange.
None of this makes a lick of sense.
Yeah. And then branching into just, like, a lighter, kind of funnier variation of this topic, there's no way that this could have been kept up for 5,000 years.
Absolutely not. No.
I don't even understand how it's... Continue.
This would have been found out, like, immediately. So this would be common knowledge that everybody just knows innately.
I don't even understand how it's kept up during the course of the movies alone.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many moments where I'm like, there's no goddamn way that, like... Well, because, like, if you think about it, like, how much meticulous precision must it take for toys to, like, set everything back exactly how it was?
There's no way they do it every time.
There's no way. And, hell, even in these movies, they don't do it every time. And it's never addressed. Like, first movie. In the very first movie, when Buzz Lightyear flies out the window, and they're like, you killed him, you're a murderer, you know? And, like, I don't know what toy was the New Jersey one, but, one of them, I guess. But, you murderer. But, they, like, knock down, like, a bulletin board and a bunch of tacks and, like, a globe. That's never... Andy comes into the room right after that. It's never fixed.
He doesn't even fucking notice. He's like, oh, no, whatever. Yeah. That was like that when I left. I don't care.
He says nothing about his bulletin board and globe just being on the ground. Just all over the place.
maybe everybody knows that toys are alive, and they just let the toys think that they don't know.
That's really fucked up.
That's super fucked up.
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. That fucks me up. I tried to do that to my toys, actually, when I was younger, though.
I think everybody did. Like, that's the Toy Story movies just, like, traumatized a generation to think their toys are alive.
No, I set them all up, and then I left the room, but I was like right next to the room, and I was like listening, and I like was kind of peeking, and I was like, "Are you guys gonna move and talk?" I'm curious. Had an elaborate sting operation for my toys.
I would like leave a bunch of toys on my floor and like pretend I was asleep.
Aw, baby, you're so cute. You're so cute. Pretending to be asleep.
Yeah.
You're so cute. No, I would leave the room and I would like sit outside the room and be like, you moving in there? You doing shit in there? But no, yeah. And like, and I did give some thought to, this is a kid's movie, it's about toys. Maybe, just maybe, all of the movement isn't really real and it's just like like a metaphor for like imagination and things like that. No, the wheels fall directly off of that very quickly because there's so many things. Possibly. There's so many things that physically get changed because of the toys. The whole RV incident. Explain the RV incident if toys aren't sentient.
Yeah, no, nobody's even questioning that toys are 100% sentient in this movie. Like, well, I mean, I thought about it. Like, I was like, okay, I have some questions I can't answer. Maybe it's because I'm thinking too hard, and it's just because it's like imagination, and things that don't make sense are because it's all made up in Andy's head. But no, because that's not true, because we've got plenty of evidence that toys actually are sentient and do interact with the real world and change things. So, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. This is a very confusing series. There's just no way to overanalyze Toy Story and have it make any sense. Toy Story is just I don't even know what to say about Toy Story any further. Toy Story is ridiculous. There's so much going on, and there's so little explanation. Is that everything? Yeah. I think we really went through the weeds on this one, and I think we did. I think we've arrived at a reasonable conclusion to a very confusing series. A reasonable conclusion that there just is no conclusion. Well, yeah, that's true. Like, a lot of the things that we talked about today, we were just like, fuck if I know. Like, this is not our usual lore break where there's hard, concrete answers. It's just like, the toys are alive. It doesn't really make sense. We don't know why. There's not a good reason. We didn't solve anything. We just talked about the shit that doesn't make sense, and I hope you had fun with it. Like, yeah, no, I don't know why. I don't know why toys keep this charade up. If you've got a reason for why toys keep this charade up, feel free to share. It doesn't benefit them in the slightest. It really doesn't. It's like I said, it's symbiotic, but like in a kind of unhealthy way. Like there's way more benefit for the humans than for them. And I think it's kind of an unhealthy relationship for the toys, and I don't think it like really makes them happy, like deeply. Like I think it makes them kind of upset in the long run, usually. So that's gonna do it for us. Thank you for listening. Yeah, this episode was long and rambly. Not our usual level of concrete answers, but I hope you learned something, or at least thought a little harder about something, probably. But if you like this episode, check out our other episodes here on wherever you listen to this: YouTube, Spotify, the Dude Media Network, Apple Podcasts, wherever you were. But check out the rest. Check out our Twitters, our personal Twitters, and the Breaking Law Twitter, and our Discord server.
And check out our Patreon, because if all goes according to plan, we are releasing our very first mini episode and our very first audio commentary themed for St. Patrick's Day with the Disney Channel movie The Luck of the Irish, which actually, it's just occurring to me, the episode that may be out by now, so this isn't really an announcement. It's more just a, hey, go check that out if you liked The Luck of the Irish or want to hear us rambling. You know, I don't remember what level minisodes and audio commentaries are, but you sign up for that level on our Patreon and you can listen to those. So yeah, support us, leave a comment, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your cousin and your toys, tell your toys too. Toys can use computers. We didn't even touch on that. Toys would absolutely get caught for using computers.
Toys can use computers, and they would.
At one point, the Triceratops gets a DM that just appears on the screen. Like, what's going to happen when a human's using that computer and they get a random DM from someone they've never talked to, who you could ruin a marriage that way, really, if you think about it.
You know what?
Well,
yeah.
Because she's dating the toy that she's DMing is the implication of the line. So, like, imagine if you get a random DM that's like, hey, you up or whatever, and like you approach your spouse and they're like, no, I swear I didn't cheat on you, but like maybe they did, you know? You go back and read those DMs. So yeah, toys would absolutely get more reasons they'd get caught. They'd get caught for using computers, for goddamn sure. Like even with search histories and stuff, like you know, they're not that slick. Yeah. Like they're gonna get caught.
They're not clearing that. They ain't blasting that cache.
But yeah, this episode just can't goddamn end, can it? Thank you for listening.
Hope you enjoyed yourself and have a good night. We love you.
Have a good night. We love you guys, baby gamers. Good night.